Awesome. Hello, everybody. Super excited that you guys are here with us tonight. So we are once again doing Reignite Your Soul podcast here live on Facebook. So if you guys are here with us, say hello. We have another incredible guest here with us today, Ric Sarpong, who I actually connected with over Instagram. He is absolutely incredible. He's from New York, but he's living in Ohio. And he has such an incredible story, which I'm excited for him to be able to share with us today, because what I've been finding is that we usually, like on like a societal level, we just connect with people very superficially, and we oftentimes we don't get to connect fully. And when we start hearing all of these amazing stories of the challenges that people have gone through and the triumphs, we're able to actually see people for who they truly are. And I love that so much, just being able to come on here and share some incredible stories with you guys, because a lot of you guys might find that you or somebody you know has also gone through something maybe similar to Ric, or maybe has a similar outlook or vision on the world as Ric. And then by us sharing these stories, we're really able to connect. So if anything with this interview really resonates with you, feel free to connect with him, because I know that we are all just so open to being able to empower each other to really step into that version of ourselves, and to just really be able to connect and feel authentically, and just be able to learn and grow together. So I'm super excited for you to be here, Ric. And he is incredible. He's super passionate about the breath. And he also helps people to just live on a body that they love, and live a life that they love, and also aligning their business opportunities with their passions. So thank you so much for being here today, Ric.
Wow, Laura, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh my gosh, it's
Yeah,
amazing. So
love the introduction.
yeah, would you mind sharing your story here with all of us?
Of course not. Yeah, yeah. So I guess I'll start in 2017. Quote unquote college dropout. Went out really into the world by myself. Lived in my mom's basement actually for a certain period of time, and in that 3 to 6 month time frame, I was really in my awakening, right, into who I was, what this world really consists of, and what it takes to really be successful, within whatever mind frame I had of that term at that point in time. So, from there on, for about a year or so, I was really just living in and out of, individuals' basements, trying to make ends meet. And still voice inside me told me that I needed to start what I finished, which was completing my college degree. I was actually 8 credits away from graduating.
Wow.
Although what deterred me was just that resistance. It's always when you get to that final leg, right? So I actually decided to go back, and that helped me a lot in terms of my confidence in myself, and then in the higher powers that assisted me to get me onto that path. So after I did that, I got a couple corporate jobs, and I excelled very well in those atmospheres just because I'm a sociable person. I have an innate ability to really connect with people at an authentic level, and that allowed me to really excel in certain skills that I didn't know some individuals didn't have. Truthfully, I thought everybody had a mindset like I did in terms of really connecting with people, but I learned quick in the corporate world that's not the case. So worked a couple, excelled my way through the corporate world. As I really got into the meat of that, I realized that the money was great. I was making great money. I was a medical sales rep. Time freedom. I mean, just straight out of college, money was really what I was seeking. Right. I wanted to be on my own feet. I wanted my own space. I wanted my own car, et cetera, to travel, et cetera, et cetera. So all that came, although what I didn't account for was the stress that would come with that, was the insecurity, the low self-confidence, the negative energy, the race against the clock, not even finding time to live in the space that I pay rent in on a consistent basis. So, it took a lot of sleepless nights to really do some inner work to have my eyes wake up. Thankfully, I see this as a blessing now in the present moment. It wasn't. My role as a medical sales rep actually got relocated to Boston. And in that point in time, they're like, you can either apply for the job out there or we're going to have to let you go. Right. So this is a young 20-something-year-old, fresh out of college, thinking he's living the dream, is investing 20 or 30 years into this company. And within less than a year, he's being told, hey, you got to figure this out. That took a week for me to really ingrain and to really digest. And what picked me up, I'll tell you this, what picked me up is prayer. I did a lot of praying and meditating, knowing that I was being divinely guided, right? A lot of times, us human beings, we see good and bad. We see rich and poor, although those are just constructs created by man, right? So if I look at how I was divinely created, being really connected to God and our source or what have you, there isn't anything that comes my way that I can't overcome or isn't meant to assist me in getting to the end goal, whatever that would be. So, I picked up a few odd jobs at a couple vegan restaurants here in my local area. And the reason why vegan specifically is in that moment during all that, turmoil and the negative energy and the anxiety and the bad habits I picked up from being in that environment at work. I lost my health, indigestion, constipation, irritability, just brain fog, et cetera, et cetera. So I realized that I needed to start looking at what I'm putting in my body. So that awakening allowed me to really start questioning everything, questioning, anyone and everyone, no matter what their status or age is. And that gave me a level of wisdom that has carried me throughout to this day. So, worked, in the vegan community as a chef since January, actually, not since January, but it started January, ended in March. And I learned a lot, worked alongside two great, powerful women who really took time and patience to teach me, the proper ways to really perform as a high-level chef. And it was a very rewarding position. Although with COVID hitting, obviously the restaurant business took a hit, so I had to figure it out again. And luckily, my great friend, my brother, my multi-dimensional brother, as I referred to him, reached out to me probably a year prior to that about an opportunity to connect with a community of leaders, of natural healers, to really, shift the culture and the way in which this world is going. He saw that I was awake, and he saw that I took very good care of myself mentally and physically and spiritually. So it only made sense. In that present moment, I wasn't ready, right? So we were still able to keep the rapport. He connected with me at the right time, when I was looking for other options and I was looking for a vehicle to really grow in. And, since then, it's been such a beautiful experience. I mean, connecting with so many, different souls, spirits, getting a better understanding and understanding of this world, how people work, how people think, what it takes to be a leader, not only, within your community, but within yourself. Yeah. Right. You have to take that first step. And I'm constantly learning that every day and getting very comfortable being uncomfortable, yeah. And seeing how that is literally the catalyst for growth, so I thank my community. I thank you, Laura, especially for going against the grain and having a similar vision or similar, story in alignment, and creating the space for us all to come together and really share our stories and know that we're more alike than we are different.
Mm-hmm. We definitely are. And like everything that you shared there is something that so many people can relate to, right? Like going to school and like finishing that and then working your way up and like doing all of these things and being so busy and having the income, but then missing so much of our life. I know, like for me, like I was a paramedic before, and I was the exact same thing. I was working 2 part-time paramedic jobs. I was like working so hard, like trying to prove that I was capable of like like I've always just been somebody who just always wanted to do my best, right? And I feel like there's a lot of us out there that do. We just want to do our best in what we're doing, but then it's like, at what cost? Your health starts declining. It was the same thing for me. Like I was really stressed out. I remember when I was in college, I had hives for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Because I was just so stressed, right? It's like, at what cost are we doing this in this normal traditional societal way of earning money? And the coolest thing is that now it's like the world is shifting in this most incredible way.
Yes.
And you shared like quite a few amazing things. And I would love for you to be able to explain what awakening means for people, because that's kind of a spiritual term that like a lot of people maybe haven't heard before. And there could potentially be a lot of people going through that process right now.
Right.
And have no clue what it looks like, no clue what it feels like. You know, explain that for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that all came through. I got it. Yeah, awakening is such a interesting term nowadays, especially with what's going on. And I'm so glad that you're at the frequency that you understand, spiritual awakening. To me, awakening is really having a level of awareness that isn't common. For me, awakening was a time period of, it still is. I say it as if it's never ending. But awakening for me is a constant pursuit of knowledge of self, of knowledge of your connection to the ether, to the higher forces, to the elemental spirits, and the spiritual world that has created this physical construct that we live in. And these words I'm speaking are very much frowned upon in our community in terms of the matrix. And I'll use some terms here and there, but that's just that's my nomenclature. So yeah, when you look at traditional America or the matrix, I looked at it in my awakening process as almost scripted. It didn't seem real. And until I got my back against the wall, because I believe spiritual awakenings occur when your back is against
Yep.
the wall.
It does. And I'm so glad that you said that, because it's like so many people, like it's like seen as like such a brilliant, amazing like process, right? But in reality, the thing that triggers it is usually like the worst case scenario. Like for me, it was like coming out of a relationship of 6 years ending, like literally like everything came crashing down. I had a house, I had dogs, I had all of these things, but I was so unhappy inside. It was the worst time of my life. And at that point, same thing as you, I moved back in with my parents. And it was like this moment of like, holy shit, like what is going on right now? What is life? What the heck am I doing? And I started questioning myself in my head. I'm like, hey, like what is life all about? Like, why am I here? And like, what am I going to do moving forward? And that's kind of was the thing for me. So what was the situation for you, curiously, Rick, if you don't mind sharing, like what was that situation that kind of pulled you into that dark moment where you were able to see the kind of like start getting those gears turning about what is potentially more? Because there's so many people right now with COVID and all of these things, like the rug has been pulled out from so many people, where that this is that moment for a lot of people where it just created massive change in their life. And now they're all sitting here questioning themselves as to, okay, what the heck have I done up till now? Like what is going to happen in the future? And it can seem super scary.
Right. Yeah. And that deters a lot of people, is that fear. But I can tell you what got the gears turning for me was one night I was in my mom's basement on my computer, my laptop, just researching, stuff. And I came across water, and I was looking at different kinds of water, and I was looking at different Japanese research articles on how water actually holds a certain level of energy or frequency that um, because of the way our traditional environment is set up in, that the quality of water in which we take in isn't actually for our benefit. It actually is very destructive. So that, and just looking in the, to be transparent, just pedophilia and how people could be this evil out there put me in a very dark place mentally. And I started questioning, so having those same questions that you have. Who am I? What's my purpose here? Why would God allow all this negative to happen? I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this, but I really had those thoughts. And and it was to the point where those thoughts of suicide were really coming in consistently. And I really felt worthless. And knowing that rabbit hole that I was going into, I realized that, listen, there's two sides to this. Okay, we can continue to lean into this suffering and have these negative thoughts consume us, or we can just get on our knees right now, speak what's on our heart, and from this moment on, just seek truth, seek wisdom, and lead with your heart in everything that you do. And that was really it.
Yeah. I love that you shared that you were at like the deepest, dark of your moment and like having thoughts of suicide, because that's something that I don't usually share and talk about. Was that because when I remember vividly driving home from a night shift after working and being like, if I drove off the road right now, like, would I even care? And we never know what people are going through. We put on these masks, right? We put on these masks on the outside, like everything's okay. But that's truly like having that like loving aspect toward everybody, because you never know what people are going through. And that's why I love sharing these stories, because it truly is genuinely about, we are just here, we are put here, and everybody's going through their own shit. Everybody's going through all of these different journeys, and we're just here to respect people for their journeys. We're not here to judge. We're not here to compare. We're just here to love on each other. And so when you were in that deepest, darkest moment, like what were some of the things that you started doing that kind of helped to bring you, like those first couple steps that helped to bring you out of that darkness? Because obviously you're out of the darkness right now. You're like headed toward the light, and I'm super excited to share what your vision is for the future. But while we're on this topic, like I would love to just hear, like, what are some of the things you did in those moments that kind of helped you to bring you out of that?
Awesome. Yeah, great question. And I'm smiling as I'm thinking of it. Yeah, one of the things I did was really started reading the Bible. And I'm not religious by any means, although that was what I saw as my blueprint to life in that moment. So I started delving into religion and spirituality. And I started doing things that made me smile.
I love that.
Working out, just being outside, smiling at anyone and everyone, even if they flick me off. Even it's, hey, awesome. Even if someone cut me off on the middle of the road, it's really just keeping that positive mind frame, keeping those positive thoughts reoccurring.
I love that. It's funny because like you go, like, I feel like I can relate to this too. It's like, I feel like it's like all a part of this stage, right? You go through that and then you're like, okay, what can I do that's going to bring myself happiness right now? Like, and I always say that, like, what is it that excites you? And some people maybe don't know what excites them. I know, like for me, like I was so caught up in my routine of the same old that I forgot what actually excited me. So I was like, okay, well, let's friggin' just be curious. And this is where we need to get back to our childlike tendencies and just start being optimistically curious again, and actually exploring and like trying things. Does this excite me? No, I kind of hate this. Okay, perfect. Not going to do that again. All right, I'm going to do this. Okay, like this is awesome. I'm going to do this again. And then it's just about going on that. And I love how you just wanted to put out that like that amazing energy toward other people. And I went through that phase as well. And maybe you can relate to this, maybe you can't. But when we're kind of along this growth journey, we go through this phase where it's just like all good, all good, all good. But then we kind of forget about the shadow aspects of our life, which are still there. And I know for me, it's just been over the last maybe 4 or 5 months where I've really dug into the shadow aspects of my life and started actually healing from the traumas of that shadow aspect. Because it's all great to be able to see the positive and be the optimistic one. But until we start dealing with those shadow aspects that are still there from our past, they're still weighing us down. They're still lowering our frequency, and they're still not allowing us to fully shine into that person that we want to become. So do you have any experience with that? Like, curiously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm so glad that you really expanded on that, because that's something that people don't vocalize, that other side of the spiritual awakening. It's very, loving, in certain times, but there's a balance. There has to be, that shadow side, that dark side. And I can definitely relate to that. And I got to a certain point where I built I built my character up to where I was I walk my talk, basically. People, would see me and recognize me, and they would, know what I stood for, as I trip over my words. Anyway, when I got to a certain point, so I just got off of a 10-day cleanse. I'll start here. I just got off a 10-day cleanse, and it's been the most enlightening cleanse, because it made me look at this exact topic. Day 8 or so, I had a really profound experience with the divine, with divinity, and it opened up my eyes, and I gained this really heightened level of awareness, and it made me look 25 years, down the line behind me, and I saw my habits, my weaknesses, my tendencies of indecisiveness, and just low vibrational things that kept me in a certain level of awareness that inhibited my growth. And that was very hard to digest, right? Because I looked at it and I was like, damn, dude, you've been in your own way since day one. It is literally you. Like, you are the challenge in the way. So so I looked at that, I digested that and looked and realized that entrepreneurship and spiritual growth is all about healing those traumas, not just your traumas, right? Generational traumas.
Yeah.
So now
and
you're
that's
delving.
something we're hearing so much more about with everything going on in the world, is this generational trauma. Not only do we have to heal our own shit, we've now got to deal with the stuff that's been passed down from generations. We're like, what? But it's
Right.
cool, right? Like, it's just about having that optimism toward learning and growing, instead of seeing these challenges as, man, I'm doomed. It's like, okay, this is what I've been dealt with. This is what I have to overcome. And like, how am I going to get around this? Like, what am I going to do to be able to get around this? And I love how you shared that you were doing that cleanse. And like, as we fuel our bodies more, it really does help us to bring this awareness, because when you start fueling your body with more high frequency stuff, you start doing these fasts, it allows you to start having that mind body connection a lot more, and being able to think back to all of those habits and those things in your past that weren't serving you. Like, you may not have had that opportunity to have that reflection if you didn't do something like that. And the things that were holding us back and holding us stuck, and not place judgment on it, not wish that it was a different way, but just fully accept it and see it for what it was, because all of those things have brought you to where you are today, which is such a beautiful thing, right? So it's literally, like I always say, it's like a dance with like playing in the present moment. You're like, you're really leaning into the future and excited about your vision, but then you've got to go dance back in your past to heal some shit. And it's like literally this dance between you're being in the present moment here on this thing, but then we're also visualizing about our future, like what are we desiring, but then also going into the past to heal all of these past things. And I know you're super passionate about breath work.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear, like, what was your experience with meditation and breath work, and how did this allow you to be able to just become more mindful of these habits and these things that were kind of keeping you stuck, so you could say potentially move forward?
Right. Great question. Yeah. So up until this year, I was actually a wannabe meditator, right? So like, I had all the best intentions to meditate, 30 minutes or so a day. And it was just so intermittent. I mean, off and on, here and there. Although those moments where I was on, I experienced very high level of awareness and energy and clarity. And I really like that. I really like that as a result because I saw how that impacted other people around me. So I was like, oh shoot, like I can definitely make this consistent. What caused it to be inconsistent was those habits, those traumas that I didn't heal, and just those voices in your head. So up until this year, I really connected with a community that is filled with a lot of natural healers who educate individuals on stress management techniques, breath works, meditation, qigong, and Reiki and other and yoga and other things of that sort. So I think breath work resonated with me most because I realized how out of balance and out of alignment I was in my past life because I was in a state of fight or flight 24/7. Right. So I'm chest breathing through everything, through exams, through walking to the park, to going on dates with girls, to playing video, to reading a book. My body thinks it's getting chased by a bear. Right. So I realized that I realized the ability to slow your breath down and how that puts you in such a relaxed state, telling your body that, hey, you're okay, you're safe. Right. You can relax. You can let go of that tension in your back. You can really be in the present moment of your environment and experience what you need to experience. So breath work is near and dear to my heart. And I'm so glad to have other people who have paved the way to educate me. My great friend, Fox Genuine, he's an amazing, breatharian, as well as Jesse the Tree. My friend who's a permaculture farmer in New Mexico. And, just looking at their daily practices and then do my own research, I was able to make breath work, a daily practice. And it's allowed me to really connect more with my body, being more in tune with my body, my energy, being able to control my energy and go into different spaces and not have other people's energies affect me in a way that goes against my morals and values.
I love that. And you talked about some mentors too. I love that because when it comes to like mentors and learning from other people, like we learn so much from other people. I love how you mentioned that you would take what they were doing and then do your own research and see, and then try it and see how it felt. That's like the biggest thing, right? It's about seeing what other people are doing and trying it out for yourself and seeing how it feels. And obviously it's been working, right?
Yeah.
And like you're in this space now. So I would love to hear like, what is your vision for the future now? You've overcame all of this adversity. You're now at this point now where you're stepping into entrepreneurship and you're really wanting to make this impact in the world and help people to go through what you've already been through. So I'd love for you to share, like, what is your vision for the future? What do you see? We're in this time now that is very trying. It can seem very dark, but the cool thing is that we get to see the entrepreneurs of the world. We have them in our networks. We get to see the vision of the future. We see what the world is going to be. And that's what being a visionary is. But there's a lot of people that maybe don't see that right now. So if you could cast a vision as to what that looks like, that ideal version of the world that you are working to help create, what does that look like for people so they can really get a good picture as to what to expect when this future does come?
Yeah, great question. Sustainability is really the term that comes to mind. I was speaking with my mentor today, and we watched. He shared with me a video of a very popular influencer in Florida, and he was paddleboarding, through to an island, and he was just showing a video recording of all these dead fish, these dead stingrays, these dead eels, baby fish, because of the pollution of the water. And it really almost brought me to tears, nearly did. Just knowing how connected we all are in nature and with animals, and knowing that life is lost because of our ignorance. because of our stubbornness to change our thought. You know, people talk about repent. Repent just means to change the way you're thinking, you know, to be open-minded. So my vision is really, you know, I share that story just because it aligns so well with my vision in terms of sustainability and really creating a community or a space, you know, similar to, you know, what we have here that people can come into. They can be vulnerable, share their story, get guidance, get wisdom, get high vibrational frequency foods into their system. That way we can have these conversations on a non-reactionary level, taking care of their family, you know, economic empowerment we talk about, and giving back to earth, giving back to Gaia, really taking care of our farms, our soil, our trees, our water systems, educating people. It really starts with just education.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, so many seeds can be planted just from that. And with my vision, with our vision in terms of our community, it's really just that, to create an eco-living community, very sustainable. You know, I mean, we're talking about container homes. We're talking about permaculture, you know, gardens, you know, in the back, growing your own food, learning how to grow your own food, getting your hands in that soil. So all of that, that's really what it all encompasses.
I love that. It's really just getting back to the basics, right? Like basic
Right.
relationships, basic like respect.
Yeah.
And I love like about like the whole like permaculture thing and about like growing your own food and respecting the soil and doing all that stuff. I know I shared with you earlier, like the lady that I'm living with right now, she's got this incredible veggie garden in the background,
Yeah.
like in the backyard. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like,
Yeah.
this is incredible. Like the world has just got so far off track with the priorities that we've had that haven't been serving us. And this is why we are in this state of unrest that we're in, and we've created this ourselves. So it's that
Mhm.
radical responsibility, looking back inward now, being like, hey, like what can I personally do myself that can move not only myself forward but my community forward, and
Mhm.
also like the whole entire world forward.
Right.
That's freaking incredible. I love that, Rick. And when it comes to you, like for you, like that 2.0 version of yourself to be able to step into this more, what does that look like for you?
It looks like filling my cup every single day. It looks like taking the first step, even if you're scared shitless.
Yes.
You know, it looks like honoring the laws of my yacht, honoring myself, honoring the divinity and other spirits. So no judgment, having that respect, and you know, approaching every interaction, you know, leading with the heart.
Mhm.
That's really it.
I love that. And I think that's such an incredible share, because it doesn't matter where anybody watching this is along their journey. These are all steps that we can all take. Like we can
Mhm.
all like push past that fear. We can all like just take that next step, because at the end of the day, this is how we get to where we're going.
Right.
It's just one foot in front of the other, and just continuing along that path and just doing it from that heart space, and like sinking from our head. In our head, we have fear, and sinking down into our hearts, and just really allowing that vision to just start manifesting into real life. So I want to
Mm.
thank you, Rick, so much for sharing and being so vulnerable here with us today, and sharing like the deepest, darkest moments with us, and how you've kind of like been able to grow to where you are. And like, I know your vision that you have, I have no doubt that you are going to achieve so much greatness in this lifetime. And I'm so excited that we're connected now, because I get to watch you just freaking like explode like everything that you're doing. So if anybody's watching this and would love to get in contact with you, if anything that you shared resonated with them, if they have questions, how is it that people can get a hold of you?
Yeah. Social media, you know, it's beautiful. It's how we can stay connected. My Instagram is Rick the Ruler. That's one word. I'll spell it. So it's R1C the Ruler. And
Awesome.
Facebook is just first and last name.
Which is Ric Sarpong, RICSARPONG, for those of you guys watching the or listening to the audio version of this. So I just want to thank you so much, Rick, again, for coming on here and just sharing all of your incredible wisdom with everybody. You're truly such a gift to this planet. And I know there are so many more people out there like us that are truly making such a big impact, and like what we focus on is going to expand. So I really wanted to just put these stories out there so that people can really focus on the good that is happening in the world, even when there is a lot of darkness in the world, because when we choose to focus on the light, that is what is going to expand. And at the end of the day, light is always going to win. So when we choose to focus on it, it's just going to help elevate this process and speed up this process even more for humanity as a whole, so that as a collective, we can start living a better way and to just really start truly thriving and enjoying more in our own personal lives. Because at the end of the day, we're not guaranteed another day on this planet. So we may as well have fun and enjoy while we're here. So wherever you guys are on your journey, keep moving forward. Surround yourself, like follow people on social media that are going to pour more positivity into you. Purge out the stuff that's bringing you that darkness and start filling it more with the stories, the inspiration, the stuff that's bringing you light. Be open, be curious, ask lots of questions. We're here, we're all students of life. Nobody here knows absolutely everything. If people tell you that they do, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody knows what the heck's going on. We're all doing our absolute best. But when you can really adopt that being a student of life, everything is going to start flowing for you. So thank you so much for being here, Rick. Thank you, everybody who is on this live with us. If you guys resonated with this episode, if you would love to tag people, share this out to people in your network, the more that we can spread these messages with people, the more that together as a collaborative, we can truly start thriving. So keep opening up your hearts, keep opening up your minds. And thank you, everybody, so much for everybody that's been watching. And yeah.
Before you end, I really just want to hope that the same energy you just gave me, that you're giving yourself, right? You are doing such a amazing thing, especially in this point in time of really connecting us through the resources that we have, and creating a space just for pure abundance. You know, you said a lot of great things, and if I had to pick one out, I really couldn't, because they all resonate so well. But I just want you to realize that that same energy you just gave, you know, I'm giving it right back to you, because we are a reflection. So thank you so much for what you're doing and for the space.
Thank you for sharing that. And you're so welcome. It's cool. Like, it's amazing just being at that place where it is pure abundance. And, you know, I didn't get here overnight, but it's like, I'm living proof and you're living proof that it doesn't matter how dark the times are, like, we're able to get through it. It's just like literally one foot in front of the other. Like, we both had times that we were scared shitless. We didn't know what the future looked like. That unknown can be scary as hell, but like, it's just like living proof that anybody can grow to that place where they are happy. It's just, are you willing to put in the work? Are you willing to invest the time? And are you willing to accept help? And I absolutely love that. And you're incredible. So I'm so grateful for you. And thank you once again for coming on here and just sharing all of the incredible stuff that you shared with everybody today.
Thank you, Laura.
Amazing. Okay, well, we will sign off here. Thank you so much again, Rick. Thank you, everybody that was watching this. And for those of you guys listening to the audio, we love you guys. And we hope you guys have the best day. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. Take